Hi everyone, this is Karen White of Divine Time Astrology, and I'm here again with my friend and colleague Neeshee.pandit of Atma Astrology. And today we're going to talk about the sign of Virgo. And we're talking about it from the Vedic astrology point of view, and there may be some things about the sign that you haven't heard before. At least I hope so. Okay, so thank you for being with me again, Neeshee, and getting through the signs with me.
Sure, my pleasure. Very interesting content.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to start with the description of Virgo in Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, which is the ancient Vedic astrology document. So here we go. Virgo, or Kanya, which means girl, the girl sign. Living in the mountains is the girl sign, who, endowed with strength during the day, is front-rising, medium-limbed, two-footed, moving in the south with grain and fire, a Vaishya, clear, transparent, stormy, young, connected with tamas, existing in children, and ruled by Mercury. Now, that's really interesting, isn't it? I get all these mental pictures in my head reading this. So what we're going to be doing then is we're going to be going through each one of the things mentioned in that description in a little bit more detail. We'll start with the body parts. And since Neeshee also is an Ayurveda practitioner as well as a Vedic astrologer, I'm going to let him begin with that.
Sure. So Virgo corresponds to the hips. And in case we hadn't mentioned this before, it is worth mentioning that the zodiac is conceived to be the body of time. And so Aries is the head, and it moves through the entire body until reaching Pisces, the feet. The zodiac itself mirrors the body of man. Okay? So Virgo is that point that corresponds to the hips. And this is really indicating that Virgo has to do with the intestines, especially the large intestine. So it's important. It's associated with the separation between nourishment and wastes. Okay, because the intestines are responsible for helping to digest that food that is going to become nourishment and to let the food that is waste move through and be eliminated from the body. So Virgo is therefore associated with purification, but as it is a Mercury-ruled sign, it's also associated with discernment and intelligence, needing to see what is waste versus what is usable material, If the body misjudges that, it becomes imbalanced, But if it meets the mark on making that discernment, then you're in good health. So that's why Virgo in medical astrology is also, being the natural sixth sign, is really important for seeing someone's overall health.
Right. And it also is related to the lumbar area of the spine. And so if you have lower back pain, it can often be related to your digestion.
That's
Wouldn't you say that, Neeshee?
I would say that. I also would say lower back pain is a common Vata symptom, So if things are not moving properly, that means if your intestines are not eliminating, constipation is also a Vata problem. If you're not absorbing your food properly from the small intestine, that's also a Vata problem. So that'll show itself as low back pain. Also, if you're having kidney problems, it'll show itself as lumbar pain.
Yeah, that's true. I've actually had a few kidney infections in my life, and I never would have guessed it because where I felt it was in my lower back.
Yeah, and that's because of the pathway of the kidney meridian.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the dual signs. So Virgo is a dual sign, and the dual signs are the signs that help to exchange or transfer the energy from the season and getting it ready to begin the next season. So dual signs inherently know when to hold on and when to let go. They contain characteristics of both the movable cardinal signs and the fixed signs. And Virgo in particular is exactly what Neeshee was saying about knowing what nourishments, what nutrition to hang on to in the food, and what to let go of. So it's the work of the large intestine.
Mm-hmm.
Dual signs are also, they change, but not radically. They're more like a gradual, get to the next beginning of the season where things change rather dramatically. They remain as they are while allowing for adjustments and improvements. And dual signs are multi-skilled and prompt learning and improvement within the framework of the status quo. And Virgo in particular improves upon a person's position in life and also upon their sense of self. They like to be useful. It's part of what makes them feel good about themselves, is their ability to be useful to everyone else.
It's a practically oriented sign anyways, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, dual signs are really here to improve upon things, you know? So they're always taking something, making it better. Even if it's already good, they're going to make it better. So that's a huge trait of these dual signs.
That's true. This is one of the reasons why I've decided that when I'm ready to hire an assistant, I want it to be somebody who has either Virgo Sun or Virgo Mercury or some combination of that. Because I just have such admiration for the way Virgos do things. They're they always tend to be the best at whatever it is they do.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to take the gender of this?
Sure.
Gender? Okay.
Sure. So we've been talking about male and female signs, and Virgo is a feminine sign. So it's primarily receptive. You know, it's not, even for all of its practicality, it's not necessarily opening the door every day trying to see what can I do. It does those things, you know, that come into it, you know. It's responding to insight. It's responding to vision, to an observation, to, oh, that could be better than the way that it is now. Oh, I can fix that actually, you know, and then they go and they do it, you know. So it is primarily a receptive sign, you know. They spring into action from receiving something, receiving some kind of content.
Right. And because it's a feminine sign, it's considered to be a gentle sign.
Right.
Gentle signs are more relaxed and they're more into being and enjoying. That's more important than getting things done, even Virgo. So ill combinations in the gentle signs indicate pain and misery that's held onto and turned within and hurting the person, rather than being turned outward and taking it out on other people. So that's one of the characteristics of the gentle signs. And Virgo is always ready to be part of the betterment of others. And so it feels good when it feels useful. So you wanted to go on then to the dosha?
Well, I just wanted to add that part of the quality of the female and the gentle traits of Virgo makes Virgo more emotionally oriented, you know, more in touch with how it feels about things. Mm-hmm. But also when it becomes pathological, because like you said, the gentle signs will tend to hold on to pain. It's similar to how Virgo corresponds to the intestines. You know, it's like holding on to waste, holding on to stuff we don't need. The healthy function of Virgo is to eliminate the things we don't need in life and thereby to optimize our life, which is a huge mercurial trait. How can I optimize it? How can it work better? Well, you can't get to that point if you're holding on to something that doesn't need to be there. So that's like the key to Virgo's health, is that eliminative process psychologically, emotionally, physically has to be happening.
Yeah, that's really interesting, which I am thinking is related to Virgo's reputation as being really good at organization.
Yep.
Being detail-oriented, a little bit picky about things, you know, it's because they're improving, they're refining. They're taking it to a higher level.
Also, you know, Virgo comes right after Leo in the sequence of the zodiac, you know. So first you have your digestive system, your digestive sign, you know, you have to digest things, and then you have to eliminate what's no longer necessary, you know, the waste product. So there's such a logic built into the zodiac, you know. I was just going to point that out. So
yes, it is totally logical.
It's very logical, yeah. So we can move on to dosha. And this is interesting because Virgo is an earth sign. So that means that it is doshically mixed, okay? Now, don't get confused. Element we're going to talk about after this, but I already mentioned it.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that in Ayurveda, we typically look at doshas as combinations of elements, right? So like kapha is made up of earth and water elements. So when you see an earth sign, you'll want to think, oh, so Virgo is kapha. But that's not really how we're looking at it when we're looking at it through Vedic astrology and the way that Parashara has organized it. What he's pointing out, and I agree with this, is that Earth has the essence of all of the preceding elements within it. You see? Earth is that final condensation of everything. It's the last element. So it has all the elements in it. So Earth signs are really tridoshic. They have Vata, Pitta, and Kapha in them. And the more you think about, Virgo and Mercury and all of its other traits, you'll see that this is actually quite fitting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what Parashara says about how he breaks it down is so interesting. And there's that Pitta provides Virgo with the ability to make efforts towards improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Kapha provides Virgo with the ability for contentment with its given life and surroundings. And Vata provides Virgo with the ability to let go of what is required in order to make one's way through life. So every dosha in the earth element is being used for something in particular.
That's right.
It's so interesting. And then which leads us to the element, which Neeshee already said is the earth element. I almost called you Ernst.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Like the last time I called you Rishi.
That's right. Also taken as a compliment.
Neeshee is a very, very spiritual person here. So he probably will be a Rishi if he's not already. Okay, so anyway, the element, yeah.
Element earth.
Therefore, it's the earth element. So therefore, it's reliable, solid, and grounded. And the element also relates to the mentality of the sign. And Virgo, like all the earth signs, is rationally centered. We call them earthy.
Earthy, exactly.
Yeah. Right. So what are you going to say about that?
Well, they're focused on the imminency of things, the immediacy of things, what is material and palpable. They're opening their eyes and looking, what's around them. It's very grounded in that sense. They're stable, they have their feet on the ground, they're aware of everything, and they weave their way through life with their, great awareness of everything. So,
which is one of the reasons why people tend to consult them on certain kinds of things, because they're just so fully aware of all these things, so much. So to be rational is the ability to derive understanding and arrive at conclusions through logic. And rationality leads to good sense, sound judgment, and reasonable actions.
Yeah.
So rationality.
People.
What's that?
Common sense people,
Common sense people, right. And rationality has the unique ability to reveal common sense truths that humans, with all of their intellectual faculties, seem to have a habit of missing. So Virgo is your practical, down-to-earth person, which is why they're so very valuable to have in your life. And then Virgo uses reason to understand problems and develop strategies to overcome the problems, which it has the good sense to apply. And then the element also indicates the height or level that things are contained, that things contained in the signs may be. And Earth is level with the surface of the Earth. And so those things in the Earth signs are on ground level. And now that relates to things like prashna or horary. If you're looking for something, you've lost something, and if it's the object is represented by a planet in an Earth sign, it'll tell you that it's on the ground or on the floor. So that's what that little bit there is about. So you want to take the guna?
Sure. So guna, and again, the guna is what is motivating this sign, the motivating energy of the sign. So Virgo is tamas, okay? And that's partly because it is materially aware. And the domain of materiality is the domain of tamas, you know?
Mm.
We'll see some other signs later that are also tamasic, and it won't be because of materiality. So what I'm talking about has to do with this sign in particular. Virgo is tamasic for this reason, because of its awareness of materiality and earth, you know? Earth is lethargic. Earth is the domain of ignorance, you know? Earth is where karmic beings are born. Earth represents incarnation in limited forms. So that's why Earth is associated with tamas. Tamas is associated with ignorance and lethargy and inertia, not moving. Earth is a kind of a stable ground. It's not a motion. So Virgo is tamasic for that reason as well. Also, Virgo is motivated to transcend, to overcome the limits of its physicality. So it's about overcoming physical illness, overcoming, you know, material pains and sufferings and all of the things that can impose itself upon you in the material world that is not pleasant. Virgo has a motivation to go beyond it. So Virgo is interested in being healthy. Virgo is interested in being clean, you know, being organized, being efficient. All of those things are the interests of Virgo. So Virgo is tamasic in the sense that motivated in response to the tamasic energy, you know, that it encounters, that it's so familiar with.